She is one of the most famous women in history. You have seen her in movies. You have read about her in textbooks. You think you know her story. You don't. Almost everything you have been told about Cleopatra is wrong. Her nationality, her appearance, her relationships, her death, all of it, shaped, twisted, and rewritten by the people who defeated her. This is the real Cleopatra, and the truth is far more extraordinary than the legend. Let's start with the most basic fact that most people get wrong. Cleopatra was not Egyptian. She traced her family origins to Macedonian Greece and Ptolemy Soter, one of Alexander the Great's generals. Ptolemy reigned Egypt after Alexander's death in 323 BC, and he launched a dynasty of Greek-speaking rulers that lasted for nearly 3 centuries. For nearly 300 years, Cleopatra's ancestors ruled Egypt as Greek outsiders. They lived in Alexandria, a Greek city built by Alexander the Great on Egyptian soil. They spoke Greek. They governed as Greeks. They refused to learn the Egyptian language. Her first language was Koine Greek, and she is the only Ptolemaic ruler known to have learned the Egyptian language among several others. Think about that. 3 centuries of rulers. Not one of them bothered to learn the language of the people they governed. Until Cleopatra. She was 18 years old when she became queen, and she immediately did something none of her ancestors had done. She learned Egyptian. Then she kept going. Cleopatra could understand and speak many languages by adulthood, including Egyptian, Ethiopian, Hebrew, Arabic, Syrian, Median, Parthian, and Latin. 9 languages, at least. Some historians say more. The sound of her voice was compared to a melodious, multi-stringed musical instrument. This was not just a party trick. This was a weapon. Every foreign dignitary who came to her court, she spoke to them directly. No translator, no intermediary, just Cleopatra, in their language, reading their expressions, understanding every word. Rome had never seen anything like it. Hollywood built Cleopatra's legend on her beauty. Ancient historians told a different story. Roman propaganda painted Cleopatra as a debauched temptress who used her sex appeal as a political weapon, but she may have been more renowned for her intellect than her appearance. She spoke as many as a dozen languages and was educated in mathematics, philosophy, oratory, and astronomy. The ancient writer Plutarch, who lived just 1 generation after Cleopatra, described her beauty as not altogether incomparable. What captivated people, he said, was her voice, her presence, her mind. The ancients praised her intellect and ascribed to her treatises on cosmetics, coinage, chemistry, and gynecology. She was a published author, a monetary reformer, an economist who restructured Egypt's entire currency system to compete with Rome. She published 2 known texts, one on the care of the body and the other on weights and measures for medicine and trade. And she introduced Julius Caesar to an astronomer named Sosigenes of Alexandria, who proposed a new calendar based on solar cycles. That calendar with minor adjustments is the one the entire world uses today. The Gregorian calendar you check every morning. Cleopatra helped create it. None of that is in the movies. At 18 years old, Cleopatra inherited a kingdom on the edge of collapse. Her father had borrowed massive amounts of money from Rome to keep his throne. Egypt was effectively Rome's financial dependent. Her own brother, whom she was forced to marry according to Egyptian custom, was already plotting against her with Rome's backing. Within months of becoming queen, she was forced to flee her own country. From her exile in Syria, Cleopatra turned to Julius Caesar, then a general and politician intent on becoming Rome's sole dictator, for help regaining her throne. What happened next became legend. Knowing Ptolemy's forces would stop her from meeting the Roman general, Cleopatra had herself wrapped in a carpet and smuggled into his private chambers. Caesar was dazzled by the sight of the young queen in her royal garb. This was not romantic desperation. This was calculated genius. She knew she had one chance to meet the most powerful man alive. She took it, on her terms, in his private chambers, before anyone could stop her. Caesar backed her claim to Egypt. She reclaimed her throne. Later, when Caesar was assassinated, when the entire political structure of Rome collapsed overnight, Cleopatra immediately identified the next power, Mark Antony. When summoned to meet the Roman triumvir in Tarsus, she arrived on a golden barge adorned with purple sails and rowed by oars made of silver. Cleopatra had been made up to look like the goddess Aphrodite, every detail calculated, every entrance staged. She understood power, spectacle, and psychology in ways that made the Romans look unsophisticated. Rome was terrified of Cleopatra, not because she was beautiful, because she was winning. With Antony's military power and Egypt's wealth combined, she was building an empire that could rival Rome itself. She and Antony began minting their own coins, declaring their children heirs to vast territories, positioning Egypt as the center of a new Eastern empire. Rome's propaganda machine went into overdrive. Octavian declared war, not on Antony, on Cleopatra, because attacking a foreign queen was more politically acceptable than attacking a Roman general. The war ended at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. Cleopatra attempted to negotiate with Octavian, but when she realized he intended to take her captive and parade her in the streets as a prize, she barricaded herself in her tomb and killed herself, likely with poison. She had watched her father humiliate himself before Rome for decades. She chose death over spectacle. Even in dying, she chose the terms. After Cleopatra's death, Octavian became Augustus, the first Roman emperor, and he spent years systematically destroying her reputation. The woman who spoke 9 languages and reformed Egypt's economy became a seductress. The ruler who outwitted Caesar and Antony became a temptress who destroyed great men. The queen who chose death over captivity became a tragic romantic. Every story Rome told about Cleopatra served one purpose: to justify Rome's conquest of Egypt. That image, created by her enemies, is what survived 2,000 years. What Hollywood inherited. What most people still believe today. The real Cleopatra, the linguist, the economist, the strategist, the last pharaoh of Egypt, was buried under Roman propaganda and has stayed buried ever since. Cleopatra ruled Egypt for 22 years. She kept her kingdom independent against the most powerful empire in the world for 2 decades. She published books, spoke 9 languages, reformed a national currency, and when the end came, she chose it herself. Rome was so threatened by her legacy that they spent generations erasing it. If you want to know what history buries, subscribe to Buried History, because this is just the beginning.